What's up, guys, and welcome to the Five Guys on Live family. Hello, hello, hello. I am your host, Rodney. To my right, we have CJ. To his right, we have Dr. Kirk. Then we have the wonderful Eric as our guest. And on to the bottom right, we have no other than Vince. Thank you so much for tuning on. And so, Eric, thank you for being a guest. Would you just watching our show? What do you think how you think tonight's gonna go?
Oh, I think it's gonna be fantastic.
Okay. So I don't want to break tradition. So Lord Jesus. You get to ask each cast member or each panelist one question that you would like for us to answer. So you go in any order you want to, and then we can start from there. Wait, are you muted? You have to unmute yourself, Eric.
You got a question for us, Eric?
Oh, I thought you were saying for the audience. That's all. I was thinking somebody was gonna ask us all questions. Oh, I don't even know where to start. Like, I really don't know where to start. I really don't have questions yet.
You know, that's fair.
Everybody's muted.
You don't have nothing you want to ask us, nothing random, something that took up, presence today or anything. You don't want to talk about nothing, or have a question about anything.
Well, I heard some of you guys voted. You want to share your experiences voting today?
Yeah, I will actually. And I know Roger voted as well. I am extremely tired right now. I'm just going to tell you that right now, but it was for a great cause. It is a good cause. I was up since 7 o'clock this morning. So my theory was thinking that, it's Columbus Day. Not everybody has Columbus Day off. I was thinking I was going to wait probably 2 hours minimum because I got there so early. Literally, I got there at 7:30, polls opened up at 8 o'clock. The line was wrapped around in my area in Buckhead. It was wrapped around the building, down the street, around the corner. I got in line around maybe 7:45 at the find parking, and I didn't get to vote till 11:45, 11:30. So when I tell you my feet are hurting, my back hurts. I see why some people had their lawn chairs and everything out there. Again, it was painful, but you know what? It really, honestly, and I put this on my post earlier, it pleased me to know that people were out there voting, to see that number of people out there. And it just wasn't older people. I seen a lot of younger people in their 20s with their parents out there voting. A lot of Black people that were out there that was voting. So honestly, it made my day, honestly, but the pain was unbearable to say the least. So I am tired, but I'm glad I got it done.
And Rodney, you want to share yours? Then I'm going to throw out 2 random questions.
Okay. Voter suppression is real, you guys. Let me say this. You know how we talk about stuff all the time, and then we really don't. Blakey is silly. He ain't tripping. You got it. Blakey, he's new. He got he gonna ask some questions. But voter suppression is real, you guys. We talk about it all the time here on Five Guys on Live, and I never truly understood it until I went today, because standing in line for 5 hours and me and CJ stay in the same area, and it took 5 hours to vote, but I was not getting out of line. But I just really hope when people are doing early voting and really see how things, I feel like sometimes we don't understand the effect of things, so we have to go through it. And with me going through it, I was just like, wow, this is ridiculous. But it was so beautiful to see people out there voting and just trying to make their voice be heard, because this election is very serious, and we just have to get your booty to the poll.
Also, I got rained on too, by the way. It was downpouring this morning, unfortunately, 3 times. And I didn't have my umbrella, so I got soaked too.
All right. Zachary, what's one change you want to see coming out of this election?
One change that I want to see come out of the election is I really want to see more people become civically engaged beyond a presidential election. Every election matters. And so people are wondering, how is it that, we're able to confirm Judge Amy Coney Barrett? Well, it's because you have a Republican-controlled Senate and a Republican leader in the executive office. And so many people don't understand how government works. And I'm hoping that this is going to lead to a greater level of civic understanding as well as civic engagement. I really hope that this doesn't end with the 2020 presidential election. If people are going to vote every election, they're going to research their candidates, and they're going to really take their responsibility as an American citizen serious.
Vince. Oh, random question. You ready? For local elections, what's the most important official or office that you he's like, what? that you think is a game changer for the Black community here in Georgia?
Oh, wow. Well, in Georgia, I would have to say, just based on my personal experience in regards to the areas that I've lived, Lovejoy, Riverdale, East Point, College Park, Southside all day, if you will. Probably, I know I would have to say the mayor as well as the police chief. I'll have to say those two, because the mayor and actually majority of those cities that I lived in, they were pretty visible. Shockingly, like you knew, or I knew who the mayors were in those cities. And then just given the racial climate that we're in right now, dealing with police brutality, I feel like people that govern those police departments definitely need to be well vetted out, as well as just known, as well as being visible too. So yeah, I would say those two.
Sounds great. All right.
Eric, you have a look. So Eric did have some questions, but tonight, you guys, our first topic was something I feel like everybody will talk about. Was the vice president debate? I just want to say this, so I'm gonna get out the way because I know everybody want to talk about it. But shout out to the fly that was on Mike Pence's head. He knew he smelled bullshit. But honestly, it really made me fall so in love with Vice President Kamala Harris. Like the way she said that, so poised, and she looked so unbothered, and the way that she answered her questions, it just made me feel like, oh my gosh, I love this lady. But I had to give to Mike Pence. He's a good debater. I feel like they both had some good points, but Vice President Kamala Harris won. And I love what she said. Funny how you talk about us trying to bring more judges to the Supreme Court. However, not one of your nominees were Black, and he didn't have anything to say. I did like the fact that both of them kind of dodged questions. But overall, I truly did enjoy the debate. That's how I felt about it.
Well, as this is Vince's topic, Vince, I think you should go first. And and I say that because you put the topic in the docket, which is part of what we do. And also, I know I talked about this on the night of on 3+1 Media, as CJ said, that's the platform for that.
Well, considering that Rodney opened it up to the floor, that's why I didn't, want to put in my two-piece so soon. Thank you so much, Mr. Zachary Kirk. For me, I actually enjoyed the debate as well. It was a complete opposite from what we saw in the first presidential debate. We were able to hear both parties speak on their positions and their policies, so on and so forth. regardless of the dodge questions and the many lies and many deflections that happened, especially on the Pence side, it still was just like, it just put my mind at ease that I did not have to deal with the shenanigans that happened 2 weeks ago, or what have you. I was also very, very impressed with Senator Kamala Harris. I've been a fan of Senator Harris for years. I'm talking about maybe 4 or 5 years, even before she, came out and was like, hey, I'm going to be running for president and stuff. So she really, just me watching her thus far and how she presented herself that this past, was it Tuesday, whatever night that was, it was incredible. She was everybody's black mother, everybody's black auntie, everybody's black sister, but at the same time, she really just was very relatable and didn't give, like I said on Zachary's platform, 3+1 Media, she didn't give too much sister girl, if you will, like that could possibly turn off the suburban mom in Ohio, how playing politics. I'm just going to keep it 100. So I thought she did a great job. Pence, for me, he was too news anchorish. Like I could just, really just see through the facade of him just trying to be 11 Alive News, and I wasn't buying it at all. So I do agree with Rodney that 100% Senator Harris won, and excuse me, Ms. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking. I'm speaking. Loved it.
Say that again, and it wouldn't be a show without Zachary throwing shade towards CJ. But yeah, I think everyone has said it best. Kamala Harris, Mrs. Vice President, she handled herself like a lady. She was classy. She wasn't argumentative. She said what she had to say, and she stood her ground. And I definitely would want someone running the country that can stand their ground, say what they say, and mean what they say, and not get out of character. And she didn't break a sweat. Again, I don't, follow it that much, but from what I did see, she handled her ground, and I liked everything that she said.
It is okay. All right. Just wanted to make sure. So I had mixed feelings. I really wasn't a fan of Kamala Harris to start off with when she started in the race. After I heard her platform and some of the things, I wasn't a fan of her record. Let me make that part clear. It wasn't her as a person. I wasn't a fan of her record. But now I've seen over the years how she has grown, how she has kind of tried to right some of the wrongs when it came to her record. And then as it relates to the debate itself, it was a lot more civil. I expected that much. I feel you, Nathaniel. So I'm very bothered by the fact that we have to go with this whole lesser of two evils thing that has been pushed on us forever. I think she's the better out of the two for sure. I do like where she's headed now, her direction. I was very irritated at the fact that she had to be edited, like we all have to be in our professional environments, because, we can't be seen as the angry black person, the dual, it's so agitating, having to see her, sit there through the over talking. And he didn't really do over talking in the sense that Trump did, but him carrying on past time. I thought it was more slanted towards him than it was her. The moderator, I really wasn't a fan of. And then the irony that happened during this debate was hilarious. It was nothing but projection. Pence, for example, when he was talking about Democrats were playing with people's lives, I'm like, dude, you guys are the ones that literally were telling people that it was going to go disappear, it was going to up and disappear, and blah 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 with COVID and everything. So that was very irritating to me. But for the most part, of course, she won for sure. I just look forward to the day where we don't have to be as edited. Yeah.
And so, in regards to, well, of course, I've made a commitment to be very kind to guests, and I will continue that commitment. But I do want to do a little bit of what I consider to be education around the record of Senator Harris, because so many people are very misinformed about her record. And people want to accuse her and what they've seen are fake book articles generated by Russian bots and agents of against democracy. People have taken the talking points given by the Republican Party that have been proliferated throughout media to attack her, as well as attack President Biden or Vice President Biden, without doing their own adequate research. Kamala Harris was one of the first people in this country to back marriage equality, period. Mm-hmm. She made sure that every citizen in California had the right to marry and protect those rights when other attorney generals and other people all around this country were still trying to figure out where they were going to land, including President Barack Hussein Obama, who didn't originally even support marriage equity and equality. In regards to her record around the incarceration of Black men, she was attorney general and a prosecutor. Her job was to enforce the laws. She did not make the laws. Kamala Harris, as a prosecutor and as an attorney general, enforced those laws. She did what she was hired to do. She could not change the laws, but because she knew there was a reason to change the laws, she left her field as an attorney, where she made more money, and then entered into a life of public service as first an attorney general and then as a senator, because she knows that it is the legislative branch of our government, the senators, who make the laws. And she has committed her life to changing laws that she was forced to enforce because of her position. So for people now, specifically Black men, to attack her and say that her record is problematic, it concerns me a great deal. Kamala Harris, to me, represents the epitome of what we should praise in the Black community. She is educated, but not only educated, she's HBCU educated. She is not only active in the Black community, she's a member of the oldest Black sorority in the United States of America. Yet and still, we are the ones critiquing her. I don't hear Latino men and women critiquing Senator Kamala Harris. I don't hear, really, to be honest with you, many white women critiquing Senator Kamala Harris. But it is the Black community that's being used against her. And that, to me, is heartbreaking.
Yeah, I would have to definitely agree with you, Zach, because in her quote unquote record, it did mention that, you know, Black and brown people were affected. When you think Black and brown, you automatically think of African Americans and the Latino community. But just like Zach said, and I always wondered that when everybody was fussing and fighting over her record, and I have, you know, a nice amount of Hispanic friends, they had no bad word or anything to say about her, but they were too quote unquote affected by her record, if you will. So I definitely agree with you on that, Zach. I want to very quickly,
Vince, if I could.
On another
Candy
token,
put a comment that she's married to a white man. If I ran for office, Candy, and as my friend, and I'm not in partnership with a Black person, would you not vote for me? That's who I'm true, is who I have fallen in love with, going to stop you from voting for me.
Oh, he is white. I thought he was Italian.
I did too.
Look, making up stuff. I thought he was white. Something else. I'm making up in my way. Right. Yeah. But at any rate, I did want to give a definition because the word fracking came up a quadrillion times, and I was on my couch like, what the heck is fracking? So for people out there that do not know what fracking is the process of drilling down into the earth before a high-pressure water mixture is directed at the rock to release the gas inside. So I believe that fracking comes into the terms of global warming, you know, penetrating the earth, and how people may not be for it and may be against it and stuff like that. So I just wanted to put that piece of education out there because the word kept coming up, and I know a lot of my friends was like, what the heck is a fracking? Who is frack? I know frig, but I don't know frack. Like,
with fracking, I want to say to Nathaniel, Nathaniel, if you go back right into Nathaniel's comment, is it that she fell in love, or is it the clout that comes with it? Regardless, that's not our place. You can't, you don't have, none of us have the right to judge her and her decisions as a Black woman for who she has chosen to be with. That in no way is indicative of her ability to serve the people of this nation. But yet and still, for some reason, there are a lot of us who think that we have the right to be in the life of every single public person, and we should be able to dig into their life. And we can critique Kamala for children that she's had or hasn't had. We can critique Kamala for who she's dated and who she hasn't dated. All of that is, to me, a part of a system that is set up against people of color. How many Republicans critique Donald Trump for having a wife who was a stripper? Where we can go Google her and see her nude photos. You can see her shaved vagina. Her shaved vagina can be Googled right now, but we're not critiquing that. But yet and still, Nathaniel, we're critiquing Kamala because she chose to follow, or it so happens to be married to a man who's not Black. All of those things are the problems that I have, because again, you don't see Donald Trump's community attacking him and his shaved vagina wife, and wherever Melania may have married him, but yet we're doing it to Kamala. The double standard that exists in the Black community is something that I think we need to really evaluate, and we need to look at the underlying reasons we have it. Now, in regards to fracking, Vince, what I wanted to say is that fracking is an environmental danger. And that is why so many Democrats are against it and why they're not supporting it. However, you cannot end fracking now or be against fracking when, one, Pennsylvania is a leading state for fracking, as is Texas, and the economy is in ruins. Donald Trump is the first president in American history who is going to leave the White House with fewer jobs in the American economy than there were when he entered into office. And so this is not the time to cut anybody's job. This is not the time to make any kind of massive changes until you have created a plan to replace those jobs and started to implement the replacement for those jobs. Joe Biden, in all fairness, and to just clarify the record, did say that he wanted to end fracking. He said that in one of the primary debates. The very next day after he made that comment, he retracted the comment and said he misspoke and that he would not end fracking. And that is where the whole conversation came from around fracking, and that Joe Biden supports fracking. He did say that he would end fracking, but the very next day he came back and said he misspoke. And he has stuck to that throughout this campaign.
So, quick question: if he retract the statement and say he didn't want to end fracking and fracking is endangerment to the environment, why would he be okay with that?
Because you have to make hard choices as a president, and this isn't the time to end fracking. If Joe Biden ends fracking today, he is going to lose thousands of jobs in Pennsylvania, another 1,000 jobs in Texas, other thousands of jobs in Maine, and people are depending on those jobs for their livelihood. We are on the verge of absolute economic disaster in this country because of Donald Trump's failed response to COVID-19. Joe Biden's number one priority when he assumes office is to bolster the American economy and help us on the road to recovery. His entire platform is called Build Back. And so you can't build back when you're cutting jobs. He can end fracking in 5 years, maybe 10 years, after he has created clean, renewable energy sources that can replace that form of energy supply as well as those jobs.
Well, that makes sense.
I think
I just want to say,
okay. I'm sorry.
You go, Eric. Go.
Well, no, I was just saying with what Zachary said. I think it's kind of dangerous for us to say that as Black people we shouldn't be able to critique or even have to want to challenge Kamala's record or have an idea or really just critique who she was as a politician or anything like that. I think it's problematic with that because that says that we just are supposed to just take them at face value just because they're Black. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's even, and I don't know if that's what you were saying, Zachary, but I think that's kind of dangerous for us to say that we can't literally make observations or even to provide negative feedback or any type of feedback on what we think their record is. We've seen some of the washed up stuff. We've kind of disregarded some of the things that she did have control over, enforcing certain sentences and stuff like that. She had the option of going different routes. Her enforcement of the law is different from, and she had the actual ability to kind of vary with that. And she had a higher rate of sentencing Black men. That's not a lie. That's not an exaggeration. She could have done more to actually work with the system if she knew, since she knew that there were issues with the law. We know that going that route.
Was Senator Harris ever a judge?
No,
was Senator Harris ever a judge? You do know that the judges in a judicial system are the ones who levy a sentence. Kamala was a prosecutor, and Kamala was
exactly. She was a prosecutor.
At no point
she actually had the point to actually push what type of sentences. That's what she had the ability to do.
The guidelines of the law.
Exactly. But she had the ability to lessen the sentence or actually decide how she was going to pursue it. She did. She
had the ability to decide how she was going to pursue it based upon the law and based upon her job as a prosecutor.
Right.
Who gave that sentence was a judge. So I don't know if you misspoke, but or if you don't understand what her role actually was and what she did. Again, it's easy for us to critique her based on service level data. I just urge you to go deeper. I don't know your actual name, but what I'll do is I have written a whole entire document, like a whole research on Kamala Harris's record on Facebook. I'll definitely send this to you after the show. I don't want to belabor the point too much because I know we have other topics.
I just want to say this. You guys, when you break a crime, you will be, it's a crime for a reason. And I know it's very common within our Black community that, you know, we sell drugs, we do all this crazy stuff, but when you break the law, you need to go to jail. If you wasn't, like, I don't get that. Why are we trying to get mad at somebody or get mad at someone for doing their job?
That's not what I was saying. I agree. If you do the crime, you got to pay the time.
But like, I mean, no, but like I'm not directing that towards you, Eric. I'm just talking about in general. Like, why are we mad at her for doing her job? Like, y'all, selling drugs is wrong. I don't care if it was cousin Ray, your brother, your sister, whoever, it's wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, that really destroyed people's lives. So when we go out here talking about she like, well, a lot of Black people, Black people need to start learning how to do better. And we don't like to talk about stuff like this because, like, it's so prevalent in our community. But selling drugs is wrong. Period. And we got Donald Trump as the president. So who do y'all want? Like, I don't understand. Do y'all want Donald Trump or do y'all want somebody better? Because at this point, Donald Trump has done everything. It's everything under the sun. But like, we do nail Kamala Harris to the cross for her doing her job. Now, I'm not saying we can't critique Black people because all Black people ain't good Black people, just like all white people ain't good white people. But however, she is way better than what we have right now.
I'm going to actually research. I don't know for a fact that she imposed harsher or she enforced Black men harsher than white men. I have not seen any evidence of that. So I'm going to actually research that for myself to find out because I don't think that's true either. But I will say, when you said something right, you know, I didn't agree with most of that because I don't believe that Black people do more crime than anybody else. But there was something else that you said that was a really good point. This is something I was saying earlier. As we talk about the lesser two evils, I'm also very disappointed in people continuously categorizing Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as a lesser of evil ticket. This isn't. Let me say. I want to go on record. I want to tell everybody why I'm voting for Joe Biden. Because I've never done that. And I'm going to write a whole post about this because I don't think Joe Biden is evil at all. I think Joe Biden is a very good man. I think that is evidenced by at a time in American history when it is really, really easy to not be in favor and stand with the Black community in our greatest time of need. Joe Biden isn't only standing with us, he's walking beside us. And he is showing us that he is a real ally to our issues in America by appointing and selecting a woman of color to stand with him as his vice president. Kamala Harris was not the popular choice. Kamala Harris isn't someone who's going to bring in voters to him. She's from California. California is going to go blue. He picked the best person for the job, and he saw Black talent for what it was, not as Black talent, but as what America needs. That's one reason why I'm voting for Joe Biden. In addition to that, when you talk about wealth, the fact that Donald Trump may or may not have it, We know that Donald Trump represents an economic elitism in this country. Joe Biden is from working class America. He knows what it's like to have a father who's lost his job. He knows what it's like to not be able to live with your family being separated because of job issues. His father lost his job. He had to go live with his grandparents while his dad got back on his feet. This formed him. This shaped him. This made him grow up. This man's net worth was only $200,000 a year until he became vice president of the United States. So he knows what it's like to live check to check and to be in and to struggle to make ends meet. I don't care what anyone says. Having someone like that in the White House is going to benefit all of America, because that is what the majority of people in this country deal with, and that's what the majority of people in this country live through. And that is the kind of person that we need in the White House for the first time in a long time. Even President Barack Hussein Obama wasn't a president who was really coming from true struggling roots. He went to Harvard. He represents also a type of academic elitism in this country. Joe Biden, it was going to be one of the few American presidents who pulled it up out of the mud. And that is why I'm voting for him, because he represents the majority of people of us. As someone who also pulled it up out of the mud, I can't think of a better man to represent this country. So I definitely take umbrage. And I am offended. I was offended off the bat when you see the lesser of two. Anytime I see somebody say the lesser of two evils, it makes me think that you haven't done your research and you really don't know who this man is. And it really is heartbreaking, because to me, there's no excuse to not know him, because he has shown you at every turn who he is and what he stands for all people in this country.
Zach, you said that.
I want to say this because Zach, you do like to say things. For the record, I never said that Black people do more crime than anyone. What I said, what is known in the Black community, that Black people sell drugs. That's it. Okay, I'm moving right along. We are going to talk about coming to America. All right, CJ, this is your topic. Can you enlighten us on what's going on with coming to America?
Yes. So, Coming to America is scheduled to hit the big screen on December 18th of this year. As people may know, this was a huge movie that got released back in 1988, June of 1988. I can't believe it's been that long. So it's been 32 years since the original Coming to America came out, and a lot of the original cast members are coming back. Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall, James Earl Jones, Sherry Hetley, I think I'm saying her last name right, as well as Louis Anderson and Garcella Bouvet. So I just want to get everyone's opinion on it because this was an iconic movie. It was a big movie, and I want to see, what everyone's opinions about it is. Zachary, I see you laughing. What are you laughing for, Zachary? Why are you laughing for, Zachary? No problem.
I'm laughing because I'm so excited to hear us talk about another remake.
That is the actual remake, though. This is actually happening, though. But I'll let you have that one. This is actually not a spoof. This is actually a real remake. So do you feel like it's been too long? I want to get people's opinion about this. Are you guys here for the movie? You guys going to check the movie out? Were you guys even a fan of the original Coming to America?
Hey, so for me, I definitely was a fan for the original Coming to America. I believe it's been over 30 years since the original one, was released. So for a sequel to be made in that, amount of time to have, went over, that's pretty amazing. But it also proves, to your point, how iconic it is and just how great the talent was represented in that film. For me, I know when we talk about these remakes, a position that I like to take is that I feel like it's one thing for the actors and the actresses to come back and be in a remake, but it's another thing to have the same producers and directors and screenplay writers to come back as well, because I feel like we have a lot of reboots and remakes, but it's not the same writing team, it's not the same screenplay team, it's not the same producers, which sort of affects the integrity of the initial or the original production, if you will. So I was glad to see, though the director that did the original Coming to America, James Landis, he's not coming back. They actually have a different director named Mr. Craig Brewer. He was known for directing Hustle and Flow, but they do have the same writers, screenplay writers, David Sheffield and Barry, Blaustein. Blaustein. Yeah, Blaustein. So I think that's really good because it's going to again keep the integrity, keep the comedy, keep the funny, keep the storyline, keep the actual presence of why we actually fell in love with the first Coming to America. Yeah, and I'm excited to see it. I hope we all show out just like we did for Black Panther, and we have on our Wakanda outfits, and we make it big. To be honest, I feel like when we do have these African American culture driven movies, like when we really come together and we show it in the box office, it really just shows the unity in a way that we sort of have collectively, and it's a warming sense that I get when we show out and come together and support.
Oh, absolutely. And yes, it's not a remake, it's a sequel. It is part 2. And to Matthew's point, yeah, this was a quick segue change, to lighten up the moment or whatever. But yeah, I agree with what you said, Vince. I think it's going to be something great. And to see the original, character and cast coming back, I'm curious to know what the storyline is going to be, because I'm just kind of feeling like, how are they going to go about this? I heard potentially what it's about, but that could be just a spoof, and it could be just a way to get us in. So I don't know exactly what it's going to be about. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm here for it. Honestly, I really am.
I'm excited about it as well. That was one of my favorite movies back in the day. I have heard a little bit about it. Some of my friends worked on it. I don't know anything about the script besides the fact that it is about his the link that was sent out. It is about him having a child, blah blah blah, all that stuff. So it's looking like it's going to be cool. I'm excited that everyone pretty much is signed back on from the original cast. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good movie, like you said. I think it should turn out. It's going to be interesting to see if it gets pushed back because of all the major movie theaters closed. So I think it's Regal. I think Regal just shut down. So it's going to be interesting to see whether they're going to push it back or whether they're going to actually do a home release.
Wait, Regal shut back down? I thought all the theaters opened up again.
They're supposed to be shutting down as of last week. There was an article that was saying that they're actually shutting down 135 here in the States.
Yes, a total of 536 Regal cinemas are closing.
Yeah.
And all Cinemax or some cinema is another major chain. All of them have also closed.
AMC is going to be only one, really? AMC?
That's what it's looking like
as of today, but we don't know if they're going to survive either.
And then
we'll see.
Also, there's been talks about at one point AMC was supposed to be doing some type of partnership with I forgot what company it was. I want to say it's like Netflix or one of them. I can't remember which one of it is. So it might be a way for them to come in and swoop in and get those Regal cinemas for themselves. So we'll see.
Well, a lot of the movies now are doing the video on demand.
Yep, and that's why I think it might happen.
Apple. A lot of them are being really good. Now they're asking for ridiculous amounts for these movies. Because I know when came out recently, which was the Janelle Monáe movie, which I watched, they wanted $20 for that movie on Amazon, and I'm like, $20? You don't even pay that much when you go to a theater. You pay at least $10 to $12 for a ticket. So to charge $20 for a video on demand movie, I think that's kind of ridiculous.
You thought that was a lot? Did you see that Milan? How much they were charging for that?
I thought that
Disney
was Plus. Oh, so you had to pay even if you had. I have Disney Plus. But I thought you. Oh, yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah, I think isn't it like $30 on top of your membership?
Yeah, Mulan was $30. Yeah. This is the rationale that the movie theater that they're giving is that if you were going to the movies, you typically would go as a family, and so even though it's only $12, a family would spend $40 easily for the film. So that's why they're charging so much. But for people that typically go either Dutch or you just go with the date, you're really losing out, and you're paying more money.
That's crazy.
I want to say this. I agree with Christian on this one. It's just some movies that I love so much. I don't want to see a sequel. I don't want to see a remake. I think it should remain the same. I feel like you should not touch iconic movies unless it has been 100 years has passed. Once a century has passed, let's go and make a new cast. Let's go and do whatever. Most of all the people who play the movies are going on in, or God rest their soul. But I just think some things should not be touched, like Harlem Nights. If they ever touch Harlem Nights, I'm boycotting. I'm going to sign a petition. I'm going to do all that because Harlem Night is a classic. It's just
Harlem Night is a classic, but they're continuing it. I get it. It's a classic, and Coming to America is a classic too. But they're not remaking it as a sequel. Now I will say, I feel like I'm here for it. I feel like I think 32 years is a long time for a sequel. I will say that.
I ain't long enough. They still alive.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's a good thing. But 32 years for a sequel, that means the younger generation, they got to go back and watch. I mean, hell, they can watch Coming to America every day because they show it about every day on VH1 and BET, to be honest with you. And maybe that's why they're showing it more now so people can get ready for the rollout in December. But like, again, I'm here for it, but I do think 32 years is a super long time for a sequel. I think they should have been maybe like 10 years, like maybe 1998 or maybe even 2008. But now 2020, that's crazy.
I'm not going to see it. I really love the original, and I want to.
And then now it's making me think, like, Eddie Murphy was like one of the original people to actually do multiple characters in a movie. He's like one of the original people who started it. And some of the guys that he was playing in the barbershop, I mean, 32 years later, I mean, are they even going to be alive? I mean, like, are you still going to play them as well? Like, I mean, unless they're going to act like as if like the movie taking place, 20 years later, but they're recording it now. That's the only thing I could think of. Like, the movie's going to take place like maybe like the early 2000s or something, but it's just now being released now. I don't know.
Well, I'm going to see I'm not a fan. I wasn't a fan of the first one. It wasn't a bad film at all, but it didn't appeal to my sensibilities when I was younger. It wasn't the kind of film that I was into. As you guys know, I was a reader, and so I was more. I like drama. So even as a kid, I was a drama. Like, I like drama films. I wasn't so big into comedy. But I will go and see the film if my friends want to, if they do it like where it's on TV. I'm not going anywhere in the COVID era. But if they debut the film like they say in December and we're still in the pandemic, we may have a movie night at somebody's house. We'll watch it together just because it's something to do. But this is my concern with the film, and I hope they address this. And this is what they have to do in order for me to be able to pay my money to it, is that in so many ways, this is actually a misappropriation of culture. When you have Coming to America about Africans and you have people that are not African playing those roles, and you're not giving some kind of balance or some kind of recognition of that, you are to me misappropriating. So I want to make sure that they've done something to fix that divide. That because in some ways you could even say that they are mocking elements of African culture. So I want to make sure they address that, and if they do that, then I'll be able to support it.
I want to say this, and this is what bothers me when people say that. You are an actor, okay? You are a comedian. You are there to do a job. You are not here, like, what do y'all want from people sometimes? Like, I feel like sometimes people are very overly sensitive. Like, why? So you telling me, so because I'm whatever, I should not play a part that I acted really good to play in? Like, I don't get it. Like, Zach, break that down more, because I'm really confused.
And even to add to Rodney's point, Beyonce faced the same backlash when Black is King came out. Well, she's not from Africa, so she doesn't reserve the right to pay homage or wear our clothes, or even like when she got booked to do that multi-million-dollar wedding in India, and she was required to wear the Indian dress, and she was getting backlash for that. But she was like, it was a requirement per the bride and groom that I come in the Indian fashion, or what have you. So it's like, I agree with you, Rodney, as an artist, as a creative. I mean, maybe there is a fine line to where if you're not disrespecting the culture or making fun of the culture that you are paying homage to or attributing or whatever the case is, then maybe it should be cool. But that cultural appropriation thing always comes up, especially Bruno Mars and Miley Cyrus. She did all the black stuff, and as soon as she was done with that, then she went on to the rock stuff, and that's a deep conversation. I would love to actually have at a further date. Mm-hmm.
So what it comes down to?
No, I'm sorry. I was just
making
go. Mute my mic. I thought you weren't gonna say nothing.
Did you tell me to go?
I was muting my mic so you can go. I didn't know you said like it was a 5-second delay, so I thought you weren't gonna respond. My bad.
what I will do for the viewers, because I don't, you don't tell me when to go, but what I will do for the viewers is I will extend out the conversation because I do think that is one that's worth having. We can't expect white artists to not put on blackface and get roles that should go to black performers and then turn the corner and say that we don't want to support our African brothers and sisters with the same issues. There are a number of African performers in this world who are not able to get roles and positions because of the complexion of their skin, going back to a previous conversation that we've had around colorism. So when we want to support the efforts of our community and we want to support the efforts of our village, then that's what this means. And that's what this is really all about. So when I say I want to see what they do, Vince, you make a good point. Beyonce went above and beyond to explain what she was doing and how she was doing it. That is what I said that's what I meant when I said I'm going to wait and see what they do before I give my money. I want to see the same level of care and concern giving around African culture for Coming to America 2 that Beyonce gave to Black is King. Beyonce created lots of economic opportunity in Africa with that film. She included African performers, she included African artists, she included African designers, and she put money in the economy. That, to me, is what anyone who wants to do a film about Africa should do if they are not themselves African. And if you're not doing that, to me, you are using that culture for your own selfish gains. And because I am an equity warrior, it's something that Zachary won't be able to support. You don't have to agree with it, and that's fine, because we can always agree to disagree because we each have a right to our own opinion, and every opinion is valid.
I want to know what Nathaniel meant by, he said in Dubai, you do as they do or you leave. What did he mean by that?
I know in Dubai they're very strict about what you can wear, what you can do, and if you want girls, they do like.
So that's why I had to ask that question. So I actually went to Dubai a month from today, last year. A year from today, I went to Dubai. I was out there for like 7-8 days. And traditionally, Dubai was like that, like where the women had to be dressed up and robed and face covered. Men could only wear their kindor or dimdash is what it's called with their turban. And that's not how Dubai is now. You can go wearing whatever you want. Women can wear camis and tank tops. When I was over there, yes, some women stayed true to their tradition and they decide to stay fully robed. But women can wear whatever they want to wear, just like here in America, and men can wear whatever they want as they would anywhere else. The only time the women had to be fully clothed and dressed in their traditional sense was when we went to the Grand Mosque, and that was actually in Abu Dhabi. So to answer your question, Nathan, it's not like that no more. Dubai has changed so much throughout the years, and it's actually a beautiful place to be.
Hello, I think he responded to you, CJ. Oh, y'all just have two different perspectives. But I don't know. This is what really. So if our ancestors, to me, are from Africa, correct? We all came from Africa or some type of African descent, and then we say African American when we live in America. We don't say Black African American. So I feel like if I have that bloodline in my body, it is not appropriation to do it. Like, I feel like as long as you do your research on it and you know what you're wearing, then it's okay. But I don't understand all this sensitivity around people being actors and comedians. Like, it's taking out the fun of life. Everything's so sensitive now. And that's all I'm saying. Like, it's just overly sensitive. People's feelings get hurt. It's like nothing's going to be on TV because everything offends everyone. Like, it's nothing. We can't laugh anymore. We can't do any of that.
Well, let me ask you this question. So you said that people in the States consider each other, or we consider each other as African Americans. So I want to ask everybody this question. It might be kind of off topics over it, I apologize. So why do, like, if you see a Jamaican and you call them Black, they get offended? Or it's like calling a Mexican Puerto Rican, like, they get offended. Why is that? Or if you see a Black person that's Haitian and they're Haitian descent and you call them Black, they get offended by it. Why is that?
I would say it's just probably an extension of cultural pride at the expense of the other, I guess. I don't see anything wrong with it. You know, realizing that we're all coming from the African diaspora, I don't see anything wrong with like when I was over in China, they literally were like, "You're African." I'm like, "I'm American, but yes, my descent is from Africa." And they just didn't have the capacity to understand that if you were Black, you could be from America, because due to media and everything and their government control of their social media, they believe that all Black people are from Africa and cannot be from America. You know, so it doesn't matter to me from my perspective.
In all honesty, if you really look into history, CJ, there's slave ship that's went on a different part of the world, but they all have African roots. So I don't understand people say, "Oh, you speak French." The reason why you speak French, beloved, is because your slave owners spoke French. The reason why you speak Spanish, beloved, is because your slave owners spoke Spanish. The reason why we speak English is because our slave owners spoke English. So we are all Black. We're all from Africa. I would say that, but I don't understand why people get upset and angry. Like, I mean, I guess it's just a thing they learn within their culture and within their community. Like, oh, we're this, we're not that. And that's another thing to me, a separation with Black people. That's a whole nother topic, though. But I see just this is how I feel on it. I think it doesn't really make any sense to me, because really it's just where your slave ship landed and who were your slave owners. In real, to be real. But let's move right along. I'm sorry. You go. What you about to say, Fitz?
No, that's interesting. Like I'm looking at the comments at the same time.
Can we show some of the comments? Can we show some of these comments that we're not showing?
This show, are you not paying attention? Look, I show everyone's coming.
I haven't seen Matthew's comment come up about doing research. Matthew made a comment about Malcolm X. I don't know if you saw that one yet.
Okay, no, that one caught my eye. I stopped there at nearly at 9:50 p.m.
So what Nathaniel said, Nathaniel said, is that he traveled to Africa and they wore African clothing and they were pissed. So to sort of answer your question, even and I hate to think, not to go back to the Senator Harris conversation, but you know, when she was nominated and everybody was saying all kinfolk ain't skinfolk, and they were saying, well, her dad is from Jamaica. Well, that doesn't mean he's Black. And they were like, then what's Jamaicans? Like, people were saying that then too. I just feel like I think education, just educating yourself around these different just cultures or demographics or parts of the world that, yes, we may all have the same skin color and complexion, but they may have had a different upbringing and surroundings as we have in the States, which may make them view us differently versus we just view them as, oh, cool, you this, that, and the third. So we probably just have to do a better job at educating ourselves to make sure that we're not insensitive to whatever that is.
I agree, that's true. I mean, I can see what you're saying with that. But I really wish that sometimes with being Black Americans, sometimes I feel like sometimes we're not appreciative of all the stuff that our ancestors went through, of all the stuff that, you know, our grandparents went through for voting rights. If Black folks in America did not go through what they went through, a lot of people from Africa, Haiti, Jamaica would not be over here. And I feel like sometimes they feel like we're lazy and they feel like we don't do anything. But if we didn't really do our blood, sweat, and tears for the United States of America, y'all would not even be over here right now, because like we did pave the way to America, and that should be respected. To me, honestly, that's how I feel. But moving right along, let's go on to Trump is trying to give y'all some more stimulus money. I found this very interesting because, like I said earlier, Trump, I feel like he is really trying to buy votes and he is trying to do any and everything just to win this election. And, you know, like, I know I'm going to explain what it was, but like, to me, I just truly feel like this election is really getting crazy. Like, I feel like we're playing with people's lives when it comes to COVID. Like, hang $1 in people's faces to win votes and all that stuff. And now, in all reality, if Trump would have really took the doctors and the research seriously, you guys, we would not be in this economic downfall like we are in now. And it bothers me. Like, I understand like people need money. I'm not saying that because I know some people in my family, some people, close friends, who are truly going through because of what the Trump administration failed to do. However, don't be waving a couple of dollars in somebody's face to win a vote. And just for me reading, it's like he went above the preference of the congressional of what the Republican Party wanted to give us. So when he is doing that, that's telling me that you don't really care about people. You're just trying to get back another 4 years. And when a person does it, that's a dangerous and scary feeling, you guys. And like, I cannot say this too much more, but like, voting is real. And please vote, understand what you are voting for. Because these people don't care about this. This administration does not care about you. And they have shown time after time. And like when going back to the presidential debate, when Joe Biden said a person is not even in that chair right now because of the failure of this administration. For Trump not even wearing his mask, and like he's just he like, I don't understand how anyone can vote for him, especially when made that comment about the good boys and all that stuff. Like, this man does not care about you, and we have to get away with somebody give us little sprinkles. Then we like, oh, he is for us. He is not for us. But I just want to see what you guys think on this topic. That was just my take on it. Like, I'm just tired of seeing us trying to be broad. Like, you can't buy votes.
Right. So for me, when I was in marching band in high school, we had some very, very rowdy, aggressive, super lit moments on the field, and my director called it organized chaos. And I think right now the Republican Party, the current Republican Party, especially Trump, has mastered organized chaos. This entire negotiation segment between this stimulus bill, the Democrats want something, and then the Republicans block it. And then 3 months goes by, Trump actually wants what the Democrats put in the initial thing, and then the Republicans don't agree with that. And then Trump comes around the corner and says, I actually want to give more money than both the Democrats and the Republicans. So it's like all over the place for me. There's at least 27 million people right now in the states that are collecting some type of unemployment. And there's also 1 out of 7 families in the United States that are, darn near not about to have food on their table. So this stimulus package is so essential. Yes, 100%. This is party over the people. It's politics over the people. Right now, we see it daily. Trump doesn't want to approve the stimulus bill until after the election. But then, per the polls, and you see how he's dragging behind and tying and stuff like that. Now he wants to, we need to do it now. We need to approve it now. And then even with the whole, we want to save the airlines and small business payroll protection. That was something that Nancy and the Democrats put in the stimulus bill, months ago, that they weren't for. And then now all of a sudden you're for it. And then in the meantime, between time, it's a freaking pandemic that's happening right now. So this is something, especially people that live in Atlanta, we have to get out of this utopia of, and I'm guilty of it. Atlanta is completely open. It's low key open right now, if you will. But there are many other parts of the country, states in this nation that are closed, that you can run down the highway right now and not have any traffic like it is in Atlanta. And I just feel like the way that the Republicans are viewing this, they're putting this in a way like we talked about in other conversations, at how it's economy over the pandemic. Well, we want people to go back to work. So I really feel like because that is their main goal, they are delaying and doing smoke and mirrors and adding more fluff and distractions to push the goal back, and hopefully having people go back to work so they won't have to approve this $1.6 trillion stimulus package. That's what I really feel like it is. I think it's organized chaos. I definitely think that this is just another scheme that Trump and the Republicans are in cahoots together, and they just doing smoke and mirrors, just trying to parlay and linger and lengthen out this entire this entire process. And it's sad because we're over 210,000 people dying, and they keep avoiding that it's a pandemic happening right now. It's sad, and it's affecting us.
You guys have really pretty much said everything there really is to say. I think that the Democratic Party and the leadership of the House Representatives under Speaker Pelosi. They've done an excellent job. They created a plan for a second stimulus they started crafting and writing this plan in April. It passed in May. They have given everything they can to the White House and the Senate Republicans multiple times. They came with a $3.5 trillion package. They took that down. They tried to negotiate. They have done multiple work. They came back from 3.5 trillion down to 2.2 trillion. And now, the president and Steve Mnuchin, Secretary of Treasury, are saying we'll give you 1.8, but that doesn't mean that the Senate Republicans who have to pass the bill will agree to the 1.8. Mitch McConnell and the House Republicans are still saying even 1.6 trillion won't make it through the Senate. And so this is really unfortunate when you have a president forcing schools to reopen without the funding for PPE, when you have a president who is forcing people to go back to work because he refuses to put in appropriate safe gaps and measures to keep people in their homes and to keep people being fed. But yet and still you're not passing any kind of support. It's really heartbreaking. We are approaching the holiday season in America, and we are facing an eviction crisis at the exact same time. This is really one of the saddest moments in American history, but it is our own creation. We created this disaster. We created this. We allowed Donald Trump to become the president of the United States. We allowed the Senate Republicans who are making these bad decisions, who are choosing to force forward with the nomination of Amy Coney Barrett as a judge over stimulus negotiations, because they could be doing that right now. Senate Republicans could be working right now on going back and forth with the House Representatives to determine and create a real package for stimulus relief that will pass and really give Americans some kind of support as we approach the holidays. But instead of prioritizing stimulus, they have prioritized pushing Amy Coney Barrett down our throats. And there is no one to blame for that but us, because, again, if the Democrats controlled the Senate, you wouldn't have these issues. We would have a stimulus that would have been passed because they would have agreed with Speaker Pelosi. It would have been a 3.5 trillion. It would have been everything that we need to really move towards attempting to reopen the country. And you wouldn't have Judge Amy Coney Barrett, because they would have pushed that back until whoever is meant to be president is elected. So we are at fault. And as Matthew said in the comments, every election counts. And we have to get away from this notion of, I'm not going to vote, or I don't really know what's going on. Every single election is crucial.
Very much so true. And I was going to say that exactly, that, what to Matthew said, every election is crucial. And to also bounce off what you said, low key, right? Vince, there's nothing low key open about Atlanta. We're widespread open. We've been widespread open for months, and it's terrible.
So when I say low key, I meant in terms of visibility. Yes, we are out and about and moving, but there are still a lot of industries and businesses and venues that are closed, i.e. me at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, that employs close to 60 to 70,000 people on a non-game day. And if it's on a game day, that number goes up to close to 90K to 100,000 people working at that stadium. These people are still, and that's State Farm, that's the Braves Stadium, this is just entertainment and sports. I'm not even talking about just other intricate industries and businesses that people are still sitting at home waiting on unemployment, collecting unemployment. My unemployment ends in March. Now, praise be to God, I have other businesses and jobs and stuff like that, but my story isn't other people's stories. You get what I'm saying? Like, I got side hustles over here, but my colleagues and fellow coworkers, they don't have side hustles like me. I don't have any kids. I'm not married. I got colleagues and other people that are married and stuff. So when I say, yes, low-key open, there are still some major establishments in our city and in our state that are not open. And there's still a lot of Georgians that are out of work that are still collecting unemployment.
I agree with that, what everybody has said thus far. I really can't belabor by adding anything else to it.
So let me ask you this. Do you feel like we should shut down and go back to phase one? Because, New York is actually in the process of going back to phase one right now, because they had an uptick in 3% of the coronavirus cases and 9 zip codes. And it was basically in Brooklyn and Queens within those 9 zip codes. So they're really pushing to go back to phase one. So do you think with flu season now here and, the virus still going on rapidly, do you feel like we should just go back to phase one completely?
We can't undo the damage that has been done by this administration. If every American would have quarantined appropriately from April until the 4th of July holiday, we would have had a grip on this virus across this country. It would have been a sacrifice of 3 months. We could have sacrificed 90 days of being enclosed and being protected and being careful, but we didn't do that. Instead, we had people like Governor Brian Kemp of Georgia, Governor Brian DeSantis of Florida, who said, no, we're going to do what we want to do. And as a result, COVID-19 is out of control. You can't roll back to phase one when you have 7.3 million Americans having already been infected by COVID-19. You can't roll back to stage one or the phase one status when you force people to go back to work, when you force people to go back to school. You can't undo that damage.
How can you undo it when other states are doing it?
New York maintained strict controls over their situation because they were such a hot spot, and they have not had the widespread opening that we have had in Georgia. Their students just went back to school a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and that's what's led to the spike. In addition to that, they're giving you fair, accurate numbers. We're not getting real coronavirus numbers here in COVID. We're not getting the real information. The president of the United States used to have all reporting go through the CDC. He changed that and made all reporting now come to the White House. Some people report, some people don't report. Some hospitals are reporting, some aren't reporting, some schools are reporting. It is truly a federal disaster of epic proportions. So there really is no value in shutting down at this point, because all we will be doing is causing greater harm to the American economy.
No, I agree with you. And to answer Matthew's question, do I think the teachers and students should go back to school right now? And absolutely not. I think it was back in early August here in Georgia, where the high schoolers went back to school for one day, and literally like 50 students ended up catching the virus, and a student got it was suspended for posting the footage or the video, and that was just one day. You know what I'm saying? So to have the kids and the students go back to school now at this point, and this was in August before flu season really hit, and now we're really getting into flu season and in the mix with this coronavirus, I think it's stupid to have any of the students or teachers go back, and it's a health factor to me personally.
I agree. Zachary, when you said about you don't think we should roll back to stage one, do you think that when everything is about to happen with the uptick now with flu season and also this next wave, what are your thoughts on that? I'm just curious.
We are living in a time when every single citizen has to take care of themselves and take care and pray for their families. They're going to have common sense and do the same thing. You can't roll back. We're too far gone. The train has left the station. You can't go backwards on the track. We can only go forward and live through it. Every single person who needs to get a flu shot this year. Even people who think it doesn't work, people who are afraid of the vaccine, whatever the case may be, you need to get a flu shot. This flu shot that we're going to take now was developed years ago. So it's not like they're making a flu shot. They didn't start making a flu shot during the pandemic. The flu shot was made previously. This batch of flu vaccine was made years ago. If you're someone who always gets the flu shot, you're going to be in the best shape because you have multiple strands for 2 years already in your body. So whatever you're getting inoculated against this year is going to continue to protect you. But if you choose not to get a flu shot, you're putting yourself at grave risk and grave danger. Imagine getting COVID-19 and the flu simultaneously because you have a weakened immune system and you have both going on. You're making a really bad choice. So one, get the flu shot. Two, people are not going to allow this government to go back. You just had last week a group of white fundamentalists saying they were going to kidnap and kill Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan because your president said to liberate Michigan. People are not going to even allow this country to go back into phase one restrictions. They're just not going to. So unfortunately, we're only at a point where we got to protect ourselves. And right, Candy, get that flu shot. I'm getting my flu shot Wednesday. That's my day. I'm taking the day off work. I'm going to get a flu shot. This is my routine. I get a flu shot. I take 2 Tylenol and I take a nap. I wake up, I feel great. I'm going to do that in the morning. And then I'm going to go and vote at 2:00. I'm taking the whole day. Flu shot and voting, that will be my Wednesday. And I recommend that you find some way to do the exact same thing. COVID-19 is going to be worse. In the wintertime, we're going to be in enclosed spaces with people. You've got to really, people are doing less. I see people without masks on. I see people eating out more. I see people hanging out at the bars. This is the time to really hunker down. You need to wear your mask faithfully in everywhere you go, and you need to start wearing gloves. You may also need to consider wearing a face shield. We have to be super protected if we think that we're going to be able to survive through the worst of the pandemic. 90% of Americans have not contracted COVID-19, even though we have 7.3 million people. About 88% now of Americans haven't contracted it. So that means that people are still at risk. We're nowhere near the herd mentality your president spoke of, or rather misspoke of.
And I really feel like, in this my opinion, you know how some people have to get hurt, get beaten really, really bad for they really realize what's going on with the world, care about what's going on. And with this COVID-19, with people not having jobs, they really see that this is a real thing, with people being able to do their favorite little things, like might go to the gym, but they really can't go, or might go work out. I really hope when people see this, they understand your vote matters. All I'm trying to say is your vote matters. It might not affect you in the first 2 years, but something can happen like this, and nobody really expect it to happen. They can turn your world upside down. So when you have friends, cousins, or whoever, associates, say they don't vote, I hope that they realize that your vote matters, because you would have voted in the right administration and not worry about Hillary emails. Compared to what Trump has did these last 4 years, we would have had an administration who would have took the time and really fought this thing head on, instead of trying to blame the Chinese government. Trump was a hoax by Democrats. Like he is on record saying dangerous things that are affecting Americans right now. Who can I even put food on their table? Like, and I have to just go back to even back in Texas when I saw people get thrown out their homes. Like, this is some real reality. Yes, like to a lot of people in the comments, Georgia's opened up. There's a lot of places just like ghost town. And that's just, unfortunately, that's just the world that we live in right now. But moving on to the next topic, Vince, this is you. So racist words. So explain that to the public. Explain that to the people. What you talking about? What's going on?
You know what? It's I think it's amazing that CNN actually published this article shortly after the George Floyd killing. I was watching some show, and I forgot what panel show it was, but they were just talking about, you know, just the power of words, and how just racism just lives in just our everyday words that we use in our conversations and in our hearsay, that definitely have shaped and molded just how we interact with each other today. But we may not really just know the root of it. So words such as blackballed, black sheep, dark angel. There's even a retail store called Black Market and White House. And of course, anything of the black and dark connotation or what have you always resorts in something negative, always resorts in something bad, i.e. where it was rooted in history, definitely during the slavery times. One thing that I definitely found extremely interesting to me was when you read the article, cakewalk. When we say cakewalk, you know, we automatically think it's easy. So it's what we call an easy victory, or something that's easily accomplished. Though the cakewalk originated as a dance performed by enslaved black people on plantations before the Civil War. It was intended to be a mockery of the way white people dance, though plantation owners often interpreted slaves' movements as unskillful attempts to be like them. Blacklisted. In terms of the technology world, blacklist in tech refers to a directory of specific elements, email addresses that are to be blocked. But whitelist is the complete opposite. It's made of elements that are allowed. So the question that I wanted to pose to you guys, it's a series of them. In 2020, do you think that these words and terms are problematic? Should they be removed from the dictionary, or should we just, you know, grow more conscious of them before we use them in normal conversations? And, you know, or have like the negative connotations been removed from these words? I like to bring the word, the bitch word. You know, back in the day, if you were to call a woman a B word, they were highly upset. You can't call me that. But now women are finding it as a term of endearment. And now the rappers are calling women itches and all this stuff, you know, and I feel like that connotation has sort of been removed and randomly fashioned it to be this positive word that I still don't get with. But black magic, yeah, you know, so I just wanted to put that out there. I thought it was a very interesting read.
So let me say this, Vince. Actually, I actually enjoyed this article, and it taught me a lot, because now, listen, you know, viewing the words that were being used, and I'm thinking like, wow, like, and then seeing the origin of these words. Like when you think of master bedroom and master tournament and peanut gallery, and knowing where these words stimulated from, it was actually interesting and just crazy. Even the word uppity they put in the article on how that was used out of content, and how the color white means pure and black means evil. And it read more into it where it said that Zillow and Trulia was actually thinking to actually they are taking the word master bedroom out of their description for when they're presenting homes, just because it's offensive and for where it originated from. So yeah, I actually enjoyed this topic, and I'm actually going to read more about it, like do further research on it, because it's really good. Do I think that we should take it out? I mean, honestly, now knowing the meaning of these words, absolutely, I think we should really refrain from using these words, knowing what they really mean. And I think more people should be educated on that as well.
I absolutely agree with you guys. I think it's problematic, though, for us to think that we can actually remove these things from the general lexicon. Everything in America is built on white supremacy, and they're not going to give up. They barely want to give up the power as it is now. But a lot of these things are steeped in the culture. So it's going to be hard to get rid of, but I think we need to be more conscious of it. And I think because of the uproar, because of the a lot of the response to what's going on, and because there is no work and a lot of places are shut down, it's created the perfect storm for people to react and to actually carry on, sort of kind of like we did back in the 50s for Montgomery Improvement Association, where they actually carried on boycotts. I think people now, because of COVID, it actually created a perfect storm. So these are the responses of people trying to basically, I guess you could say, mainstream white society, of trying to, appease us in a sense, because nothing's changing. Like Zachary said earlier, if laws aren't changing, then it's kind of just what sounding brass and tinkling cymbals, if you want, his expression. But yeah, I think it's just kind of. Yeah, I think it's lip service. But definitely, people do need to be aware of, the backgrounds of these words.
I agree with you. We need to be more aware, because honestly, like, Candace just said, like, she labeled the box as master bedroom, not thinking like if you're moving into your master bedroom, you're just thinking it's your master bedroom. It's the largest bedroom in the house, not thinking that it came from something negative from back in those times. So yeah, it's crazy to me. Like, that's why I said this was a really interesting article. Like, honestly, it really was. Even when you think of like the word uppity, how we use that word and where it originated from, like, it's crazy to me.
I'm glad to know that I knew a lot of this, and I assume many people did. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some TikToks, and I'm going to educate people on that platform about these words and the meaning of these words and alternative words that you can use instead of saying grandfathered in, or because I knew the terms. I was surprised that so many people didn't, but then I thought about it. And again, different generations, and you're exposed to different types of experiences in your educational processes that, you're exposed to. So I get it. And Candy, in regards to that master bedroom, the article that we read said called the primary bedroom. So there's a new term, there's better language. For every offensive term that exists, there is a better term that we can use. I don't think that we can take it out of the lexicon. Personally, I agree with you. We can't take it out of the lexicon, but we ourselves as individuals can make better word choices. We can say things that would be more appropriate and would edify the culture instead of possibly harming the culture.
I feel like anything that is taught by, to a human can be unlearned. I don't feel like right now the words will be taken away, but I'm really, like Zach said, we can find better terms and better words to describe certain things. And it just goes to show what type of system America is built on. Like, it's just so weird how, because I didn't really, I knew these words was like kind of like when I started studying stuff in high school, like, oh, master bedroom, oh, the master of the plantation. But then, like, you'd be like, golly, like, this is really real. Like, we are teaching our children these words that are really, like, belittling Black people. These are in your textbook. These are words you read when you're buying a home. Like, so I really hope that that we get to a place where America can really reverse all this damage that we have done so many generations before us. And I'm really glad, Vince, you chose this topic because I really learned a lot that I knew, but I really wasn't aware of. So thank you for this topic. And you guys stop saying master. They say the big room. No.
Primary room, or the largest room in the house, largest bedroom.
Oh Lord.
Oh, okay. Can I Candace mentioned something that's very interesting here. She's talking about the independent economy and kind of piggyback wasn't in there. Kind of piggybacks off of what Candace is saying, and also off of the topic. So, is it okay if I throw something out there real quick?
Yeah, you can. You fine.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. So, Candace mentions about an independent economy. What are your thoughts on integration and segregation and its effects? Whether it was your pro, con. What are your thoughts, guys?
I was going to make a comment about the economy. And so, Candace, I agree with that to a certain extent, but at the same time, it's really hard, a hard road to hoe. So I think you may have seen, I know you're taking a break from social media, Candace, but last week I made a post in celebration of Fannie Lou Hamer, the mother of Mississippi. Fannie Lou Hamer was born on October the 6th in rural Mississippi. And she was the daughter of sharecroppers. She was the youngest child of 20, growing up in abject poverty, and her family could never get ahead because it was a sharecropping system. And so she did not transform her life and her ideas until she was a 45-year-old woman. She was a victim of what she deemed the Mississippi appendectomy, where she was forced to be sterilized at a young age. They didn't give her the choice. She went to the doctor. They said she needed to have surgery. They removed all of her reproductive organs. She didn't even know this until she got married and wanted to have kids and found out she couldn't. They did it to her as a young girl because there were too many Black people having babies where she was from, according to the government. And at 45, she realized that she had to do something to make things better when she was at an SNCC meeting, and she was motivated by the speaker. And she began a push to enter into politics and fight for voting rights in rural Mississippi Delta. She did that for 9 years. And she even went to war with President Johnson to ensure that Black people were represented. And she created what's called the Mississippi Democratic Freedom Party, which no longer exists, but should. So after she fought for political representation, she, just like Martin Luther King Jr., realized that fighting for the equal rights that we should have been given by just simple virtue of existing isn't enough. That we have to also, that's easy to give us human rights, even though they didn't give it to us. But it's much harder to give us economic rights. So she then started a huge crowdfunding. Harry Belafonte was a major donor. She took the money that she was able to raise, and what she did was she started what was called a pig bank. She gave pigs to families in rural Mississippi so that they could raise their own families of pigs, give back what they had eventually borrowed, but they would have food and they could sell the pigs, they could make money. And she did this for lots of families. Then she bought 634, acres of land with the money she had made. And then she built homes to let people live in those low rent, to almost rent free, because that was being done before the government was fulfilling that need for people. She was fulfilling it for her own people, so people would not be dependent upon sharecropping in rural Mississippi. Those houses in rural Mississippi still stand to this day. She died in her late 50s, probably as a result of the forced hysterectomy that she had when she was young. She died of ovarian cancer. All of that to say, we have had people in the Black community do this and make this push and make this fight, but it's really, really hard to do because there's a lot of education that has to also go around it. You can't just put money into a problem, and you can't just think that we can create an independent system, because economics are so interdependent upon other elements of the field and economy. It requires a lot of sacrifice that many of us aren't required to make. Let me give you an example. Would you be willing to buy a home with your whole family, all come together. Everybody donate their whole checks every week or every month to the pot, and then be given an allowance in order to live. Because that's what it takes to really create an independent economic system. It takes those kind of sacrifices that many immigrants coming to America are willing to do, but people born here may not be willing to do. So that, to me, is doable, it's possible, and I believe in it, but I don't think it's something that we can achieve. I don't believe in the idea of separation. I believe in integration. I don't believe in assimilation, but I believe that we are all interdependent upon one another, period. Racism can't end by the actions of Black people. It will have to end by the actions of white people. We depend on them, and in many ways, they also must depend on us. That's the part that we're lacking, is our role in ensuring that we're viable and that we're a part of the economic engine and that our money has value. That's why I get angry when people say, I don't believe in cancel culture. That is our responsibility in the economic engine, to cancel you and stop giving you our funds when you offend us or you hurt us or you do something that is counterproductive to the Black community, because it's all we have. All we have is our money, because we don't have anything else except the cultural capital that you give us. So that's why we have to cancel. That's why we have to hold our funds. That's why we have to say, we're not going to buy your Goya beans or your pimento cheese, your palmetto pimento cheese when you offend us. We're not going to go to Starbucks. We're not going to go to H&M. We're not going to go to Wendy's because you're not acting in our best interest. And we're not going to do that until you prove to us that you've made up for your errors. That's our power in this economy.
Speaking on council culture, Zach, I'm really curious, have you counseled Tory Lanez, which is our final topic for tonight? As you guys know, he has been charged with 2 felonies count on his shooting of Megan Thee Stallion in her foot. And I want to say this to this topic. I don't understand why we have this code within our Black community, like we don't tell what happened to us. And we know we are taught at a young age, like our house stays in our house. Because Megan Thee Stallion she could have stuff way back when. You get what I'm saying? He could have been convicted, but because we want to uphold this code, like, oh, I'm not going to tell. Like, why do we do that? Because for one, I don't know what happened in that vehicle, but all I do know is that you got shot in your foot by a man who is supposed to protect Black women. And I agree with the charges, and he is facing over 20 years if he get evicted. The charge was brought to him in Los Angeles, California, and I agree with whatever the prosecutor say. Like, I don't care. You don't shoot somebody in their foot. You don't attempt to kill anybody. Like, that's dangerous. And if you don't know how to hold your temper, well, you need to go to jail. This is how I feel about. How do you guys feel about this topic?
Agreed, 100%.
It's Tory Lanez. I mean, he's a clown, honestly, and he's facing up to 23 years to be exact. And then for the fact for him to come out and make a public statement to, I guess, apologize to Meg Thee Stallion, he comes out with an album where he was literally dissing everybody. He even dissed JoJo, like people that he'd worked with recently in the past few months. The album was complete trash, and I think he should go to jail. And I think Meg should have spoke up when it initially happened. Why she did it, I don't know. Do I feel like he might have potentially bribed her not to say something? I mean, we don't know. We weren't there. But I think anything that comes towards him as far as charges, I think he deserves it. And he needs to be made an example out of.
CJ, in the article, which I thought was interesting, she says as her reasoning for not saying anything was that I believe it said that she didn't want it to escalate with the police at the time,
she said,
which I think is very understandable. You know, it's so indicative of Black women trying to protect.
They didn't want to make
Black men.
Was what she said. But my thing with this is that what she really felt, or did he say something to her? I mean, you just don't know. Like, did he bribe her to say, "Hey, don't say nothing"?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so let me go ahead and say this. I didn't want to say nothing to make it bigger than what it was, and then come out and then switch your story up weeks later. I mean, we clearly, we know what happened. I kind of feel like it's like a whole Chris Brown and Rihanna situation, except for it wasn't as domestic as that. But
right,
it was actually worse because she got shot.
Worse, yeah.
She could have got killed or whatever. So I do believe that he tried to, or he said something to her to make her not want to say anything. And she came out with that statement saying, hey, I just didn't want to make it saying it was this, when in reality it was that. That's my opinion, but I could be wrong.
I think just from historical standpoint and also just kind of right now, I think Black women tend to protect Black men more than the other way around in a lot of instances. So I don't really think that he said anything. I think she literally was trying to, she thought everything through and was just like, this man can get killed. Even though he tried to, cause me bodily harm, or not even tried to cause, he did cause her bodily harm. I think she was still protecting him.
So she was protecting him still. I mean, he still could likely get killed, knowing that he did it.
True. But in that moment, and that's what I took from the article, was like literally in that moment, she was thinking more about him and his safety than he was thinking about hers.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
If anyone knows Tory Lanez or follows Tory Lanez is infamous for doing stunts and shows and shenanigans. He's always taking jabs at people. Like he's a mess. He's hella whack, to say the least. So again, I hope he does go to jail, as he should.
Yeah, that's actually verbatim what Meg Thee Stallion said. She did an Instagram live and was saying, even in the midst of her getting shot in the foot, when the cops came to the scene, her thoughts automatically went, well, we all Black and I got a Black man and he gonna get shot first, so let me do whatever I gotta do to protect him versus my foot bleeding, so on and so forth. For me, I actually thought this was just bad PR. I think it was just the battle of the, where is your team? The battle of the public relation representations that both camps have. Tory Lanez was very quiet after the incident. He wasn't posting on Instagram, nothing, no social media at all. Meg Thee Stallion was actually quiet too. She would address the foot every now and again. But when statements started surfacing from Tory Lanez camp about Meg Thee Stallion lying, not from Tory Lanez, but from his camp, then she had to force her hand and, okay, I'm gonna put this picture out, then I'm about to rant on Instagram Live, and now I'm really about to call you out because your people talking versus you talking. So how I'm looking at the whole situation is like, okay, Tory, feel how you want to feel for whatever reason, but I think that energy and animosity need to be going towards your team who was trying to protect you, because you was more quiet than the people that's releasing stuff on your behalf, whoever these people are, quote unquote, who is they, if you will. Yeah, I definitely agree with this is my article last week about protecting Black women, whatever the scenario was in the car. I always try to I don't be trying to pry into folks' business, but I just really feel like, first off, okay, was Kylie Jenner in the car? Was she with them, or they was leaving her party?
They were leaving her party.
Her party. So it's like, okay, why did he
even shoot her?
That's what I'm saying. Well, not even why did he shoot her, but why are you strapped? Regardless, if you partying with the Kardashians, like why do you even need a gun on you? But that's a whole nother conversation right there. So I'd be trying to play it in my head, like how could the situation went, and it's just a horrendous, terrible situation that I think just backfired on him because it was just bad PR. His team did not take care of him the way that they should have.
You can't take care of someone who doesn't want to be taken care of. You have a lot of celebrity. You can have the best team that money can buy, but when you are not able to be reined in and you don't have common sense, that team can't do anything for you. An example is Donald Trump. There are people right now who've been scrambling, trying their very best to give him good advice on what to do, and he does the exact opposite on a continuous basis. Like, again, some of the tweets, he sent out a tweet today talking about Joe Biden coughing. I mean, like, it's ridiculous. But again, he has people who are fighting hard to protect him, but he won't do it. I feel as though Tory Lanez the same way. It is sad to me that Meg, this is my opinion about it. I actually am disappointed that Meg didn't come out with the truth earlier. And I would hope that maybe she has feelings for Tory Lanez. Maybe she loves him. Maybe there's more to the relationship than what we know. And it motivated her. I do agree that I appreciate her trying to protect this Black man. But on the other end, this man shot her in the foot. And let me give you what that really means. When you shoot a performer in the foot, you are trying to take away her livelihood. He wasn't trying to take away her life. He was trying to take away her livelihood. She's a performer. She gets up on stage and she dances. You shot her in the foot. This woman was back on virtual tours. Meg did a virtual tour like 2 months ago. When you shot her in the foot, she can't dance, she can't practice, she can't perform, she can't work out. That to me was an intentional type of action that could have been out of jealousy, out of rage, out of something to take away her livelihood. And you can try to you can say a lot of things about a person, you can say a lot of things about me, but don't come from my life. When you come for how I make my money, when you come for my career, you come for my life. And I'm disappointed that Meg took so long to actually defend herself. That's just my opinion on that one.
I agree. That's a great outlook on it. And I think I'm kind of leaning with you to the jealousy. I think it could be a ego issue where, you know, she's bigger than him. She sold more records than him. I think it could have been an ego issue. So good point.
Oh, and as an FYI, for the viewers, if you want to, the song that he actually wrote in regards to this situation is called "Money Over Fallouts." So I actually took the time to look at the lyrics. I'm not going to read them or anything like that, but it's really interesting because like he sort of, I don't want to say plays the victim, but to your point, Zachary, about cancel culture, if you will, and I think our community has been very adamant about canceling Tory Lanez, outside of just, I guess, you know, the lack of streams and support from a fan that way. In the song, he was talking about how he was looking to buy a house in support of his family, in support of his baby mama, in support of his kids. And the real estate agents that were working with him pulled out of that contract. And a lot of people, in terms of just other, you know, assets and industries that he was involved in terms of his livelihood, lifestyle, pulled out or what have you. So I think he's definitely feeling the cancellation from all areas.
Yeah, Zach, you made a really good point. You said like he intentionally shot her in the foot and knowing she's a performer. I didn't think about it like that. That was a good breakdown. That like you meant to shoot this girl to make her lose money, so she probably could never perform again. Like that is a really good spin. Like wow. But Eric, I want to say thank you so much for coming on Five Guys on Live. We really did hope you enjoy our show tonight, and we look forward to seeing you back again when we, you know, recirculate our guests. Do any of the other gentlemen have any last words for our wonderful audience before we conclude?
I was gonna say thank you again for everyone for tuning in. Please follow us on Five Guys on Live, support, share, tell a friend, tell a family member, tell an associate. And everyone, please, you know, I know different states are different as far as opening dates for early voting. I know here in the state of Georgia started today. I know North Carolina starts on Thursday. And I believe DC is next week. I'm not sure about any other states. So yeah, everyone, please get out and vote. And that's all I gotta say. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to, you know, Candy says she enjoyed the guest. We did enjoy having you here. It's been a pleasure. We thank you for making some time to join us. There's a lot of things you can be doing on Monday night. The fact that you were able to take some time out and be with us, it really means a lot. And that also goes for all of our viewers who are here with us every single week, who watch and really engage with us. The show is what it is because of your engagement. We are here for you, and we come back for you. And we each have very different personalities. We all have different perspectives, and we actually even have different reasons for being here. And the one thing that we all do have in common is a desire to inform you and to give voice to what we think and share that voice with you.
Y'all should write a book together.
I don't.
That would be a very entertaining book because if you all could see, once we get off this platform, it'll be hilarious. It'll be hilarious. But no, I agree with everything my co-panelists said. Emphasis on voting, guys. We gotta vote, please. As well as CJ said, you know, we want to share this video with our family, friends, and associates. Tell your family, friends, and associates to go vote with them as well, to go vote too. And if you got to load up your car, load up your van. If you got to early vote now, just so on November 3rd, you can take 10 people to wherever they need to go to make sure they vote. We have to make sure that we are becoming a community and doing this all together and filling in those gaps.
And make sure your phone is fully charged, and make sure you have Netflix.
I know you was crying out your phone, see your phone done died on you. But
My phone didn't die on me, actually. My phone was charged the whole time I was there, actually.
Oh, look at you. Okay.
Call the battery pack, sweetie.
I want to say this, you guys, but I feel like
Right.
all five of us really have some important things going on outside of Five Guys on Live. And I just want to encourage everyone to truly follow your dream, even though it might take 8 years to get it. But once you receive the blessings and whatever it comes from your life, you will truly understand why every situation you went through. And I feel like we all can attest to that for what's going on with our lives outside of this. And we just thank you guys for being here. We love you, and we see y'all next Monday at 9 p.m. with a new special guest. CJ's picking. Ooh. All right, guys, have a good one.